Okay, here is multiplication. Let me put 2 cotangent alpha. Okay, let's start solving. So, first question. So, in all these questions, we are going to find precise value. Find precise value. So, first one, we have 12 sine 11 degrees cosine 11 degrees over sine 22 degrees. All right, so what is interesting, look here, 11 degrees, 11 degrees, but at the bottom here we have double angle, 22 degrees. By the way, if you pay attention, we have double angle and breaking down into one angle. See that? Same thing here. Double angle, breakdown in one angle. All right? So everywhere where we want a double angle, convert into one single angle. That's formulas we are going to use. Now, in this example, the 12 sine 11 degrees, cosine 11 degrees, sine 22 degrees. At the bottom in denominator, we have double angle, right? 22 degrees. And we know that 22 degrees is a double angle of 11 degrees, correct? Okay, so in that case, I'm going to apply, for double angle, I'm going to apply formula 1. Here it is. So, which is going to be 12 sine 11 degrees cosine 11 degrees divided by, so sine 2 alpha, it's going to be twice sine alpha cosine alpha. So if I represent this sine 2 alpha, so it's going to be twice sine half of alpha, it's going to be 11 degrees, and then cosine 11 degrees. We applied the first formula. Okay, so what do we have from here? Sine 11 degrees is canceling with sine, cosine 11 degrees canceling with cosine 11 degrees, and 2 will be canceled with 12, here will be 6, and our answer is going to be equal 6. So the answer is 6. Next one, number 2. I'm going to move these formulas down as we move down, so we won't have to stroll up and down. Okay, here we have. So second example, 24 sine squared 17 degrees minus cosine squared 17 degrees divided by cosine 34 degrees. Okay, yet again we have 17 degrees on numerator and 34 double angle in denominator. So let's see what we can do with this. All right. So sine squared 17 degrees minus cosine squared 17 degrees. Excuse me. minus cosine squared 17 degrees. What does it remind us? Here it is. Cosine squared minus sine squared. But we have sine squared. In our case, we have sine squared minus cosine squared. So I'm going to turn into cosine squared minus sine squared. How I'm going to do that? I'm going to write down sine squared 17 degrees minus cosine squared 17 degrees. That is going to be equal negative. I put negative in front. And cosine, okay, to go slow, let me write down it's go slow. When I put negative in front, it's going to be negative sine squared 17 degrees and then plus cosine squared 17 degrees. Yes, because I put in front negative, so I flip every single sign in parentheses. If I go back and open parentheses, I will get positive sine squared 17 and minus cosine squared 17. So all is good and fair. So with the difference that I'm going to do, put positive sign first, cosine squared 17 degrees minus sine squared 17 degrees, which will give me this formula number 2. Okay? So let me write down. That is going to be, and this is going to be practically, it's going to be negative, let me write down here, negative cosine 2 alpha, which is going to be negative cosine 34 degrees, right? Because we have here 2 alpha twice. So 17 times 2 will be 34. Let me rewrite so it would be readable. Sine 34 degrees. Okay, moving to our problem. This is going to be equal. So negative sine 24 stays where it is, and cosine 34 degrees, right? This negative sine is this one I moved. Okay, and in denominator I have cosine 34 degrees. So as a result, I'm the canceling, and I will get negative 24. Could I open this one first, cosine 34 degree? Yeah, I could open it and I would get the same thing, cosine squared 17% minus cosine squared 70%, but with negative sign in front. So either way would work perfectly. Okay? Moving to, let me write down, we applied here second one. So moving to next problem, number 3. I'm moving down the formula. Okay. So problem number 3, I'm getting negative 47 cosine 2 alpha. We need to find the precise value of negative 47 cosine 2 alpha, where cosine alpha is equal negative 0.4. Okay, so let's apply formula 2 to cosine alpha, which is going to be negative 47, and we are getting cosine squared alpha minus sine squared alpha. Okay, so sine squared alpha is equal So this is going to be negative 47. Cosine square alpha is going to be equal. Sine square alpha is 1 minus cosine squared alpha. Why? Because let me add this formula here. Sine square alpha plus cosine square alpha is equal 1. Okay? Is equal 1. So from here, I'm applying to this one. Let me see if this is formula 3, formula 4, this is formula 5. I am applying for sine squared alpha formula 5. So sine square alpha equal 1 minus cosine square alpha. All right, so from here, if I open parentheses, negative 47, I will get cosine squared alpha minus 1 plus cosine squared alpha. And we are getting negative 47, 2 cosine squared alpha minus 1. Yes? Okay, so what did we do? Since we are given, look, cosine alpha, then what we have to do, we have to convert this cosine 2 alpha into alpha. And we did that using formula 2 and using formula 5. Okay? And we got 2 cosine alpha minus 1. Now, in all these previous also examples, as you can see, we always have double angle. Once we see double angle, our the problem is going to be convert double angle into single angle. Okay? All right. Now, cosine alpha is given negative 0.4. So I'm going to apply negative 47 twice. So it's going to be, since cosine square alpha I have here, I have cosine square alpha, I'm going to square negative 0.4. Square it and minus 1. So it's going to be equal negative 47. So it's going to be 0.16 times 2 times 0.16, right? It's going to be positive, and then minus 1. So let's distribute negative 47. So is equal negative 47. Okay, let's multiply this also. It's going to be 0.32 minus 1. So 47 times 0.32, it's going to be equal negative 15.04 and plus 47, which is going to be equal 31.96. So the answer will be 31.96. Question number 4. We have 10 sine 6a over 3 cosine 3a. Okay, look what we have. We have here 3a, here we have 6a, which means we are going to deal with double angle, right? All right, we can open the sine 6a. Yes, we have here condition that sine 3a is equal 0.6. That means we have to get sine 6a, bring down to sine 3a. So from double angle get to single angle. How we're going to do? Since we have sine, so sine double angle, it's a problem, it's a formula number 1. Okay, and we are getting 10 times twice sine 3a cosine 3a dividing by 3 cosine 3a. Okay, we are canceling cosine 3a, cosine 3a, and we are getting 20, oops, it's gonna be 20 over 3, 20 because 10 times 2 here. And we have cosine 3, sine 3a. So sine 3a is going to be equal 20 over 3. Sine 3a is equal 0.6. So times 0.6. And the answer is going to be 4. Why? Because 3, it's going to be 1. Here it's going to be 0.2. 20 times 0.2, you get 4. So the answer is going to be 4. Next, question number 5. 1 minus 2 sine squared 112.5 degrees. Okay, so let me bring this down a little bit more so we can see. Okay, that's good enough because we can see. So what we are doing first, we are applying formula number, let me see which one we want to apply. Okay, I'm going to start working with formula 2. Why is that? Because I have the 1 minus 2 sine squared 115. I need to get this notation from the formula, and I can get it from cosine to alpha. Why? Because cosine to alpha is giving me cosine squared, this formula number 2. It's giving me cosine squared minus sine squared. And I have here also minus. Sine to alpha give me multiplication, but I need subtraction, right? Because I have here negative. Therefore, I'm using cosine to alpha. There is a much higher chance to get to negative through formula that has negative sign there, has subtraction. Okay, let's start working on it. So I have cosine. Well, let me change this color. It's not precisely the color I wanted. I'll get black one. Cosine to x is equal cosine squared x minus sine squared x, right? This is formula number 2. Okay, so cosine squared x, I apply here formula number 5 for cosine squared x, which is gonna equal cosine to x is equal 1 minus sine squared x, right here, from formula 5, and minus sine squared x, right? So combining like terms, and I'm getting cosine to x is equal 1 minus 2 sine squared x. Did we get similar one? Look at that. 1 minus 2 sine squared x, 1 minus 2 sine squared 112.5. Yes, indeed. Which means this is equal to cosine 2x. So in this case, it is going to be equal cosine twice, and my x is 112.5, cosine twice 112.5. So this is this cosine to x I am applying here. All right, So I am getting what? I'm going to get here 125 times 2. It's going to be cosine 225 degrees. Well, let's find out. We need to find out how much is cosine 225 degrees. All right, I'm drawing unit circle. 225 is going to be somewhere here, right? In the first one. Why? Because this is 180 degrees, correct? And 180, so 225 minus 180 degrees, it's going to be 5. So I need another 45 degrees. So 45 degrees here. So it's going to be equal to 45 degrees, correct? Equal to cosine 45 degrees. Right? Now, in the first quadrant, it's 45 degrees in the first quadrant because this is the first quadrant. First one, second one, third one, fourth one. Why is it important? Because in the third quadrant, my the cosine is going to be negative, right? Here it is. This is a negative here we have. Negative, positive. It's going to be negative. Therefore, this is going to be equal, cosine 225 is going to be equal negative square root 2 over 2. Because cosine 45 degrees, we know it's square root 2 over 2. Sine 45 degrees also square root 2 over 2. All we had to do know which quadrant it is, so figure out the sine. And here we got negative square root 2 over 2. Okay? All right. Moving to question number 6. I will solve 2 more problems. All right. Problem number 6. What do we have? 2 cosine squared 165 minus 1. All right. How we are going to apply? We are going to do similar way as we did this one. So let's see. We know that already sine 2x is equal to sine x cosine x, right? Okay. Let me see. Since we have minus, hold on. Yeah, we want to go through cosine 2x. Okay, let's change it. And change the color also. Cosine 2x, here it is. Cosine square minus sine square. So we are applying formula number 2 here. And it is going to be cosine 2x is equal, it's going to be cosine square x minus sine square x. And why did I come up with that idea? Because I see subtraction here, so I took the formula that has subtraction. All right, so from here I'm using formula 5, this one, sine square plus cosine square equal 1. So, which means the sine square, it's going to be equal cosine square x minus, instead of sine square x, I'm writing down 1 minus cosine square x, which is formula 5 I am applying, right? Okay, so I'm trying to move everything to cosine because I have 2 cosine square 165. Then I'm trying to move everything to cosine. All right, and from here, what I'm going to get? I'm going to get cosine to alpha, oops, to alpha, which is 2x, is equal cosine square x minus 1 plus cosine square x. Two like terms, and we are getting cosine to x is equal cosine 2 cosine square x minus 1. All right? Okay, so do we have identical one? 2 cosine square x minus 1, 2 cosine square 165 minus 1. Yes, we do. Does that mean we can write down here this is equal cosine 2x instead of x where I'm plugging 165 degrees? Yes? Okay, this 2x. So, this is going to be cosine 330 degrees. All right, let's draw the graph. 330 degrees. 330 degrees is going to be in the fourth quadrant, right? So 360 minus 30 degrees, this is going to be 30 degrees, right? 360 minus 30 degrees. So what do we have? What are the coordinates? So cosine here is going to be positive, which is square root 3 over 2. Sine, it's going to be negative because it's negative here, negative, positive. Sine is going to be negative, which is equal negative 1/2. If you practice a lot, you also will basic the angles like 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 45 degrees, you will know by heart. So from here, this is our cosine, this is our sine. Since we have cosine here, it's going to be equal square root 3 over 2, because we are interested in cosine. Cosine 330 degrees. That is going to be equal negative 30 degrees, right? Cosine 330 degrees is equal negative cosine negative 30 degrees, which is going to be square root 3 over 2. So answer is square root 3 over 2. If we would need sine 330 degree, then we would get negative 1/2, because first come cosine, right? Second comes sine. Okay? All right, let's move to one more question, tangent. We will use tangent in this case. Number 7. So 2 tangent 11 over 12 pi over 1 minus tangent squared 11 over 12 pi. Okay, this is a formula itself. Where is it? Right here. Let me move it. Problem number 3. I will copy and bring it down. There we go. So move closer. Do we have in numerator here 2 tangent alpha? Yes, here we have 2 tangent 11 over pi, the 11 over 12 pi. Do we have in the formula 1 minus tangent squared alpha? Yes, we have here 1 minus tangent squared, same alpha, 11 over 12 pi. So that means this is going to be equal tangent to alpha, which means twice 11 over 12 pi. Yes? 11 over 12 pi, it's going to be, this is 1, this is 6, and it is going to be equal tangent 11 pi over 6. 11 pi over 6, that is going to be equal as a degree. It's going to be tangent 11 times 180 over 6. Yes, this is 1, this is 30. So we are getting 330 degrees. So tangent 330 degrees, it's the same thing that we did here, equal negative tangent negative 30 degrees. Same way, like cosine, remember? Cosine 330, we got cosine negative 30. Same thing, tangent 330, we get tangent negative 30 degrees. Okay, to find tangent, tangent is equal sine over cosine, correct? How much is my sine here? Negative 1/2. So writing down negative 1/2, and I need to divide by cosine. How much is my cosine? Square root 3 over 2. Dividing by square root 3 over 2. And this is going to be equal negative 1/2. Since we divide, we flip it to square root 3. This 2 is gone with this 2, and we are getting negative 1 over square root 3. Now, we cannot keep square root in denominator. Whoever needs help with this topic, you can open an intermediate math. You can open the rationalization of radicals. And I will rationalize right here. So it's going to be, to rationalize, I'm multiplying by square root 3 here, square root 3 here. And my answer is going to be negative square root 3, and this 3 comes out because square root 3 times square root 3, clean 3 comes out, and it's going to be negative. So the answer here is negative square root 3 over 3. Okie dokie. This was at a double angle I used to solve problems. I will highly recommend, write out all these problems. Try to solve on your own and see how it will work. If you see you are stuck, then go back, open the video and see how I solved it. Okie dokie. See you next video.